When I started training, I didn't know anything about the sport of mixed martial arts.
Entering the octagon, a Pankration fighter from Tacoma, Washington, DJ Mighty Mouse Johnson.
Let's go, touch him up.
Who wants to see a knockout?
Sullivan Arena, baby, and it's going down.
Oh my God! Wow!
I want to thank my coaches, Matt Hume, Steve Skids, Trevor Jackson.
Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Johnson.
It's not an accident that you become champion.
He just does everything perfect.
You work really hard, you prepare.
We put a lot into the preparation to getting ourselves ready. You want to fight somebody where they're uncomfortable and you're comfortable. So I dictate where we fight.
It's all over. Demetrious Johnson remains the flyweight champion.
He's the best.
Wow.
The undisputed UFC flyweight champion of the world, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson.
In my life, I feel extremely fortunate to have a chance to acquire knowledge, and you know, for me, that's what keeps me going.
Training with a goat. Good.
We don't share secrets. We keep the secrets to ourselves. But now that we're both retired,
This is gold.
yeah.
It's insane. This conversation I'm about to have is with Demetrious Johnson. If all fighters would weigh the same weight, I believe he would be the best. I want to find out what makes him great and unique. If you like that interview, please hit the subscribe button. And also, if you have some suggestion on who you would like me to interview, let us know in the comment section or send us an email.
Back to my very beginning stage, it was me, my mom, my brother, in a little house in Parkland. And I, you know, being raised by my mom, I didn't know she was deaf. And me and my brother, we kind of found comfort in playing video games.
I saw the picture you gave me, and we see you doing track and field. What distance were you running?
I was running the 1600 and a 3200. The one I sent you where I had the blue shorts on with the tank top, the red tank top, that's cross country.
Because most of people, if you think about it, they will, after the age of 30,
Yeah.
they will never sprint ever in their life unless an emergency happens.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, there's no reason why you would sprint. I'm not talking about running. I'm talking about full out
blown sprint.
you know?
Like, I need to get some. And it's crazy you say that. Like, at the age of 30, a lot of people do not sprint. And I agree with you. I think it's probably the most athletic thing you can do, that your body, because every ounce of your body is trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Like jogging, okay, you're relaxed. But swimming, you're relaxed. But just that full-blown sprint, like, I'm going to see how fast I can run.
There's something very unique about putting as much as energy and as much as intensity as you can for a short period of time.
Mhm.
You know, in sprinting, but you don't see that in all the sports, you know, and occasionally in basketball, you're going to have to sprint. But most of the time, you're sort of cruising.
Yep,
you know?
yep.
And I think it's something very unique that if you don't practice, you lose all the opportunity of having those great benefits that comes with it.
I agree with you. In that time when I was in that picture that you're referencing to, that was me in high school. And that coach who was next to me is probably one of my favorite coaches I've had in my life, because he was able to push me in long distance. I still talk to him to this day. And he's probably been my longest coach, longer than Matt, because I didn't know Matt until after high school. But him, I knew him since I was a freshman in high school.
Demetrious, I understand after spending the day with you that it's not an accident that you become champion. After talking to you, you know, I've seen you perform on TV and live. I've seen you fight live. But what surprised me the most is how your brain works. You know, like you explained to me the concept of trying to make yourself comfortable in a very uncomfortable situation, where most of fighters,
they don't want to be in that red zone. We talk about the distance.
The distance between,
Yeah, you showed that to me, and I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that concept.
Absolutely not. And that was one thing that kind of kept it a secret, that Matt was like, we don't share secrets. We keep the secrets to ourselves. That way, because you never know, you're going to fight this person. But now that we're both retired, yeah, like Matt was very good about like setting the stage of like, you want to fight somebody where they're uncomfortable and you're comfortable. But everybody's used to fighting each other at distance. Jab, you hit pads, 1, 2, you warm up, you drill technique, boom, boom. But nobody puts himself, as you call it, the red zone, right? Like for me, I call it crossing the void. But once you cross the void, you're in that red zone to where you let your opponent, we call it pick your poison. How do you want to die? Do you want to come in and clinch? I'm going to beat you there. If you run away from me, I'm going to be able to hit you there. If you want to stay in that zone, I've had more reps, more time against better athletes, bigger athletes, that you're not going to be able to make the right decision in order to beat me there.
For years, I've been told by my coaches sometime, because we didn't really know about that concept, that don't get into the red zone, because it's like if you would flip a coin.
Yeah.
A coin toss. You don't want to make the fight a coin toss, but from your perspective, it's not a coin toss, because you practice that so much that you become better and more efficient than your opponent at it.
Yeah, and that's at one point in my career, I needed to be there. I want to get there, and then I kind of got away from like, how do I get there, right? Because when you do get to that red zone, you can get knocked out, which I've been knocked out before. But then it's funny because I told my coach, I was like, I should have never gone there. He goes, let's watch the video again. He goes, what did you do wrong? I was like, I don't know. He goes, you're scared to get there. You went like this. You pulled your head away, and he threw a flying knee. You came back in. You weren't like in tune. You weren't in flow state in order to get there. And so now after that fight, I just started walking in, like my head up, walking in and walking people down to get to that red zone. And then once I got there, that's where I was like, I can live and breathe here. And then even post-career, when I went against you, you're like...
Just to explain to the audience, the red zone is to be in arms or leg reach of my opponent. Normally we're always taught to be at one step away to be hit, but Demetrious is willingly putting himself into that danger zone where most of fighters, actually, I never knew anybody else that work on that sort of concept, is told to not going there, because you spend a lot of time there to perfect that particular scenario where others refuse to go because it's, from their perspective, is too dangerous to deal with that. It's like playing with fire. At some point you're gonna get burned, but you have done it so much in training that
it's I live and breathe there. Like there was a time in a fight where I was fighting someone, he wanted to leave, and I pulled him back in because I can live there. He can't survive there, and he goes, I need to get away. But then there's times where guys, I was telling George this, when I fought him the second time, he knew he couldn't be there. He just kept pushing me away, and it kind of drained my game. I was like, because I can relax there, I can recover there. But when they push me away, you're back in that one zone where it's like, bop, boom, bop, 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 bop. Like you're playing that cat and mouse where it drains your nervous system, it drains your energy, and it's windows of opportunity that it's very hard. You get as many rounds or many simulations you can in with the bop, 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 bop. But it's windows where when I'm in that red zone, everything slows down for me.
Wow, that you have the ability to do that. It's pretty incredible. And please take me back of when, before you start fighting professional, who inspire you?
Yeah, so after I got done out of high school from wrestling, I took third in state in wrestling. Went the whole career wrestling. Nobody scored 1 point in me.
Wow.
Not one. I would take them down, wrestle, let them go. I'll give them a point, right? But nobody took me down at all. The whole season, from the very first match all the way to the last match. But then I met a guy, he was a freshman. I'll never get his name. Kevin O'Neill. I mean, this was fucking almost 20 years ago, right? We're in a tournament. He's been beating everybody, never wrestled. He faked the shot, outside single, got the single, took me down, broke me mentally. I was broken. Never been broken in my life. Then he ended up pinning me. Just boom, cradle, pinned me. I got up. I was like, what the fuck just happened? And then I went off and I won the next match and I took third place. And then I was just, distraught. And I was like, I'm not doing track. Like, I'm going to enjoy my life as a young high schooler, teenager. After school, I'm going to jump in my car. I'm going to go home. But then after that, I graduated high school, didn't go to college to wrestle. I went to college to study, whatever. And then I was at home and I was starting watching UFC videos, Pride videos. And then I loved Crocop. The way he would kickbox, southpaw, which I wasn't very familiar with what a southpaw was. Beautiful high kicks. He had a saying, he was like, right leg, hospital, left leg, cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was like, bah, 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 the high kick. I just really inspired by how he looked as a heavyweight. He was big, buff, abs. So that kind of got me inspired. And so I'll go to the gym and hit the bag and all that stuff.
That's what make you start.
If I can say whose highlight reel I watch more, Crocop or Rashad Evans, it would be Crocop. But then when I saw The Ultimate Fighter and I saw how they were training, because when you're watching Pride, you don't see the training aspect. You just see them, bah, 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 bah. You just see, holy shit, they fight. Then Ultimate Fighter kind of gave you the glimpse of how they train and how they would work out and they'll hit the bag and they'll wrestle and all that stuff. And I was home from college. I was like, man, I'm sure I can probably do that. I went to the gym. I started hitting the bag, trying to do bah, 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 high kick, bah, 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 high kick, like Crocop. And somebody saw me and they're like, hey, you want to know how to fight? I was like, sure. And he goes, do you know how to fight? I was like, just when I seen the movies with Jean-Claude Damme, dude. That's it. He goes, he said, can you kick? I was like, yeah. Spinning back kick like Jean-Claude Damme and he jumping, wow, the kick. And then after that, I started taking classes from that day forward. Oh, dude, Jean-Claude Damme, he was one of the best 90s action star. I mean, you have The Quest, Bloodsport.
I'm a little bit old. I'm a little bit older than you, so for me, it was Bloodsport.
Bloodsport to me, double impact. We had the twin. One was all good. The one was all the. Yeah. John was the best, like the best. So I love John Damme.
It kind of aged well. Have you ever seen Bloodsport recently?
I think it was like probably 2 years ago. Yeah,
it's still good.
It's still good.
It's different than all the modern movies.
Yes.
Because you see, it's a choreography, but it's still aged well.
I think the reason why it aged well is because you had true directors who enjoyed martial arts. That's why I think it aged well. Well, now when you think about things, it's more about, okay, what's gonna get more butts in the seats? What's gonna do X, Y, and Z? But that movie was like, you have the guy, the sambo, the guy Muay Thai. Then you have this guy who was more of a, Kyokushin maybe. And then you had John. He was like, right? Yeah, you have all
with
that
dance, the kickboxer.
Exactly. And then I think it was the first time, if you never watched anything else, you got to see that culture. Was that in Thailand when he was dancing like that?
Thailand kickboxer.
Thailand, you're seeing Thailand. I think that movie was special.
Yeah, and if I would give you an opportunity to meet anybody, like any actor or in present day, who would it be?
Any actor in present day? Yeah. Man, that's hard, man. That's hard.
You have one that is like, man, you would like to meet. Like for me, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay,
he killed the Predator.
Yeah. I will say, can I give you two?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'll say Arnold. I think when his time on Earth is gone, I think I might actually cry because watching Conan, Predator, The Last Action Hero, True Lies, Eraser, End of Days, just great movies.
It's unbelievable.
And I'll probably say now, Chris Hemsworth. Like, I really enjoy his movie. He kind of has that same philosophy as us. Like, he does the contrast hot to cold. He swam in the ocean when it was cold. So I would really love to meet him. And I think he's a very unique character.
Yeah, and he's
he's shredded too.
His physique is unbelievable, But it's great how all those actors, they really inspire the athlete, what
Absolutely.
I mean? For me, watching Rocky with Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bloodsport, all Arnold Schwarzenegger, Commando, Predator, Terminator, Seagull, Chuck Norris. These guys, they really. There's rumor for a Predator sequel.
Please,
Hey, please, if you ever watch, you have to bring back Arnold for playing Dutch in the Predator.
Yeah, dude. Like, you guys are not good enough. Come on, get your ass out there.
Well, we'll be killed by the Predator and hang and skin. Oh my God, I don't want that cameo. I don't want that cameo. So now you started train MMA. How did you get in contact with Matt and how you became?
So it's funny because when I started training, like I said, I didn't know anything about the sport of mixed martial arts. I saw it and I saw the UFC and I saw what I saw over in Pride. The UFC did have a lightweight division 155 with Sean Shirk. Then they got rid of that division and they went up to, it was just 170, 185, 205, 265.
Yeah, they had they were big guys.
The bigger guys. And then eventually they brought it back. But I'm training at this gym and my coach, Steve Skitz, he's a friend. He was like, hey, you want to take an amateur fight? I was like, yeah, why not? You know, I fought my first amateur fight and there was a guy sitting there outside of the ring and, you know, Caucasian white guy, dark hair. I think he had a beard or a mustache, one of the two. That was Matt. But he would sit there watching everybody fight.
Matt Hume.
Matt Hume.
One of the greatest trainer in mixed martial art history. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, Matt Hume. He would sit there and just watch us. Wouldn't speak to me. Never said a word to me, right? That was the end of the show. He had another show. It was called Genesis. That's Genesis was his fight promotion. Then another show happened. He would sit there. Would not say anything to me. He will sit there like I always reference to like Shao Kahn, Mortal Kombat 2. You get to level the final level before you fight Shao Kahn. You fight I think it's Minotaur or Kataro. You fight and then
Goro
was the first one. Then the second one was the one with the stripes on his back. I think it was Kataro. But he would sit there and just watch, not say anything.
That's crazy.
Then eventually he was like, "Hey, you should come up north to train with us." So I started going up north to train because it was one of his satellite schools.
Okay.
Meaning like he's north, I'm south. There's one in the east. There's one in the west.
Okay.
Yeah. So to get there, the traffic was about hour and 15. But eventually he was like, you should come up on Saturdays. We all spar. I went up there and we started training a little bit, but you know, it wasn't like, hey, what's up, man? It wasn't like he was like, you know, bringing me. He was. What's what I'm looking for?
He was testing you, maybe. No?
Maybe testing. Yeah, I guess a good word. He wasn't
see
like
if you were worthy. Give you a chance to see if you were worthy.
Yeah. So we would spar, you know, and he'll move and he was so good and so fast and fluid at this time. Rich Franklin, Spencer Fisher, Mizuno, Sakurai.
Wow.
A lot of these guys were coming in the gym and we would train together. And then I'll never forget, there was one day I was sparring with Matt and he was moving. He had like a little like. When we would train, we would always listen to music. There would never be a day in the gym where we would not listen to music.
Okay.
Like if we didn't listen to music, we were all pissed off. Like for me, like now when I train, I need music. and for Matt was like, it's rhythm, right? Like you might be sparring and he had a good rhythm. He's like, pop, and he'll move, pop, pop. And he'll always have a good rhythm. And there was one time we're sparring and we'll move and I'll leg kick him. And then I leg kick him and I'm like, oh, it landed. Then I leg kick again, and he would go with the leg kick, boom, and go whack. So he'll move, boom. And I was like, fuck, man, he's so good. And at this time, he was probably 40 years old, and he was still sparring like this.
That's crazy.
And then eventually...
I'm sorry, how old is Matt right now?
He's 59.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was 40, still moving fast. He's probably 30. Yeah, I think he's 40, 38, 39. Yeah, because he just had his first son, so he was 40. And then next thing you know... He started talking to me. He goes, hey, there's another league of fighting. It's called Axe Fighting. And this is where all the best motherfuckers go. It's like the cream of the crop in Washington State, in our area. But here, when I was fighting for Genesis, it's big gloves, big MMA gloves, knee pads.
Amateur fight.
Amateur fight, yeah. Even this was amateur, but it's a step up from amateur.
Yeah, of course.
Because the gloves are thin, no knee pads, no shin pads. Oof. And so it was like, I think you should try out. I was like, bet. So the first time I fought in beginning of my amateur career, when it was his promotion, he couldn't corner me. But then when it was going to Axe, which is a sister school ran by Charlie Pearson, it's his promotion, so he can corner me. So this was like the first time of him cornering me. And he goes, all right, here we go. And then I remember I was fighting this guy, and I was going, pop, pop. I was beating him up. And he was like, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 6. Because the guy was shielding.
Yeah.
Dutch cross kickboxing, right? So if you split a line between your body, your left side is all odd numbers, your right side is all even numbers. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But at the time, the fundamentals, you cannot go 1, 2, 6. Only way you get to 6 is by going 3, 6, because 1, 2, 3, 6. So he was like, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 6. I'm like, I don't know the fuck he's saying. The fight gets over, and this what got instilled to me very, very early in my career. After the fight was over, I come to him, I was like, dude, you kept saying 1, 2, 6. What the fuck were you talking about? He goes, I wanted you to go 1, 2, angle off, and throw an uppercut at the middle. Because he was shielding, you would have gone right up the middle.
He was covering.
Yeah. But he was like, and I said, you can't do that. You have to go 1, 2, 3, 6. He goes, yeah, I know that. But in fighting, you can break the rules, right? But at that very beginning moment, in my very beginning of my career, I would always ask what I did wrong. What I did wrong. Even till the very last fight of my career, after I beat Adrian, I was like, man, what did I do wrong? He goes, fuck all that. Don't worry about that anymore, right? And my wife, she hated it because, you know, after you win a tournament, after you win a competition, you're like, woo, yeah. Me, I get back in the locker room, I was like, man, I did this wrong. I did this wrong. But at a very young age in my career, I had a very high fight IQ because I'm like, in the fight, I'm like, oh, can he do this? Oh, he did that. Oh, after the fight, man, he did this, but I don't know why he did that. And then Matt goes, well, you did this. Let's watch the video now. And we'll pull up the fight video there while still in my cup and my hammer.
Yeah, it's fresh in your mind.
I
mean, I think that's the best way to do it, right? That's why you became champion.
Yeah.
And after a fight, that's the time to learn right there because it just happened. It's fresh. So you're never satisfied about your performance. You always wanted to find a way to make it better, right?
Yep, absolutely. And then after that, that's when I started fighting more often. Matt was in my corner. And then eventually we had a big king in the cage fight. It was my first pro fight. Fought a guy, beat him in the first or second round. I rear naked choked him. And then we got the opportunity to go to Alaska to fight for Alaska Fighting Championship.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Fought up there once, beat a guy. And then I brought him up there again to fight Jesse Brock. Jesse Brock was Scott Jurgensen's training partner coach. And he was about, you know how it is when you're about to make it to the UFC, they're like, okay, we're going to have, you know, we want this guy to make it. So we'll fight this guy. He's a hot prospect. Let's see if you can beat him. And I went there and once again, I'm all about fundamentals. And so I fought him and he kept doing shit like this when he would block. So I go, bop, 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 and he'll move. And I'm like, you get knocked the fuck out. Matt was doing a seminar because that's how we make extra cash. Right? He was doing a seminar. He goes, hey, just hang out in the gym for an hour and a half. It's only an hour and a half seminar. I was like, okay. And there was one of those dummy boys.
Yeah, the Bob.
Yeah, right. And I was like, you know what? Okay. And I put him to my height. And I literally spent an hour and a half going bop, boom, kick, bop, bop, kick, bop, bop, kick. Just like I have a real good left high kick. When I spar, I'll boom, just I don't know if you see me knocked out wing C, right? That's for me going, huh? Bop,
yeah, you hide it very well.
I hide it well, but I spent an hour and a half just doing that. The next day, I fought Jesse Brock. We're moving. He's like this. I go, bop, bop, whap. Perfectly placed.
For people who doesn't really understand that, like when you move your head, it's hard to punch someone who moves the head. But a kick is like a baseball bat that even if your hands are there, you need both ends to block a kick or not be there.
Yeah.
But if you move your head at one arm, sometimes it's not enough. Boom.
Yep.
You get knocked out.
I love that. I never use that analogy. It's like a baseball bat. You move that fucking head, I swing a baseball bat, it's gonna club everything.
It's harder to get because you normally telegraph a little bit, but if you're able, like you did, to hide it perfectly, it's the perfect setup to fight a guy who moves his head. Moves that a lot. You go high kick, finish.
Yep. And so I knocked him out. That was the first round. Then that's when I got my big break from WEC.
And at that time, you mentioned your wife didn't like it. You met your wife at a young age. What did she think of you getting into a cage? And at that time, the sport it was better than it was in the early beginning, but it still wasn't.
Yeah, there was no 135 in the UFC, 145, 155. There was essentially nothing, and I didn't know about WEC at the time. Right? I did, and I didn't. Like I remember when I was I did, but I was working. But when I told her I fought at the very beginning, she goes, "So what do you do for fun?" I was, "Oh, I do mixed martial arts. I fight." And she goes, "What is that?" And I was like, get in the cage in a fight. And here I am, you know, I'm 5'3". You know, I wasn't as big as I am now, but I was a lot skinnier. I was like probably like 118. So about 30 pounds lighter. 20 pounds lighter, excuse me. My math. I'm 20 pounds lighter. So she come to my fight and she goes, wow, all right, this is pretty dope. And she's been with me ever since my second fight. Like, she's been in pretty much all my fights besides when she was pregnant. But other than that, she loves it. She thinks it's amazing. She will say often that it's probably the most manly shit I do. Because she was like, there's nothing like, and she would never get to see me train, right? Because hour away from the gym, she's with the kids. And then I'll be training. She'll get my diet and all that stuff. And then when I will go to fight, she will come. And then she'll get to see the fruits of my work. She goes, oh my God. Like, she would watch me train every single day and during the camp. But then the final night after I weigh in, I'll weigh in, go eat. After I eat, I will go train that night. And she will see everything, the way I'm moving. And then when I would fight, she goes, you literally just did that exact move last night. Like, what you and Matt drilled last night, you did it to your opponent. And that's the one thing I regret in my career is not documenting, you know, having footage of it, because, and we would never let anybody film us. We would never let anybody film us. If they filmed us, it was a basic bullshit, the fundamentals. But like when it actually came to like the science of how good we were. All right, cameras off.
Secret.
Like,
Secret time,
if you go on YouTube now, you will not find one sparring video of me. Probably not even you. I don't think there's not one sparring video.
Not a lot. I got some little old footage, but we don't talk about tactics and secrets. Like what you just gave me today. This is gold. It's insane. Like, it's great. Yeah.
And that's one thing I regret. Like, I don't have footage to look back on. I'm like, dude, like, look, like there was one time I was about to fight somebody. It was before I fought Joseph Benavidez the first time. And there was a guy who worked for, I think it was the second time. It was somebody and they recorded us. They didn't record us, but he was, do you mind if I watch? Like, there might not get an opportunity for me to actually see you ever again, like being greatness. And I said, yeah, come watch, but you can't record. He goes, okay. And he sat there and he watched us and he was in awe. And then next day I fought and he came in the back. He goes, I'm very grateful you gave me the opportunity, but I'm also very disappointed at the same time, because what you did last night, verbatim, you did it against your opponent. And for an athlete to do that and execute like flawlessly is like, I'm mad that this isn't documented. And I was like,
because everything in combat sport and not only in combat sport, everything as an athlete, even as an entrepreneur. It's about preparation. People think that you step up. There's no step up, right? It's all about preparation, right? And that's a good illustration of what it mean, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're talented. We're not all born with the same set of cards. There's things that make you predisposed to be better in certain skill, but you work really hard. You prepared very hard on it. You know, and I'm sure you can talk about that.
And I think right there, I never thought about that, like the preparation, like. We put a lot into the preparation and getting ourselves ready, making sure the cardio was good, making sure the weight cut was good, and making sure like we will look each time we fight someone, we will look at not their bad habits or their bad tendencies. We will look at their good tendencies. Like, where are you good at? Like, let's sit here and look and see where you're good at. And then we were like, okay, that's what he's good at. Then we'll train where he's good at. And then we'll go back and watch what is his bad tendencies. And then we will make a decision as a team, or mostly Matt, who make a decision as a team, like, okay, we're going to fight him here.
What we do is very similar. It's all about preparation. Love to hear your thought on it. I sort of separate preparation in three different phases. There's the physical preparation, where you need to make sure that you're healthy, injury-free, you know, in good shape. There's the technical preparation, you know, like where you're you know, like you need to make sure that you know your stuff, you know, like an armbar, your knowledge. There's the tactical preparation that you just mentioned, like watching the videos and all the, you know yourself and you know your opponent, you know what he does when he's about to break. But I say three, but quite recently, I think there's a fourth component to it, which like is the I would say there's physical, technical, tactical, but there's one that is, people will say, oh, it's a little bit esoteric, but it's something that I've done a lot without realizing that I was doing it a lot. It's visualization.
Yeah. Well, that was it.
And I believe it's important because the more you visualize yourself, and you try to visualize yourself always for success.
Yep.
The more you visualize yourself, you set yourself for positive, for success. And it's normal that sometimes there's scenarios that pops in your head that you might see yourself getting wobble or crack. But I believe it's important to never end your visualization on a negative note because it might leave a scar there.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, not only that, I believe, and I want to know your opinion on that. Is it something that you do as well? Imagery and visualization?
I did. It's funny. The visualization, I agree with that. All three of them. And I think the fourth one can be visualization. I would always dream about what was going to happen in the fight. I'll never forget when I fought Wilson Hayes, when I was about to fight him, he good grappler. I visualized him taking me down, taking my back, and submitting me. I visualized me losing. And the reason why I felt it was okay for me to visualize that is because it prepared me mentally for if I were to lose, right? Because as you know, as an MMA athlete, you show up, you're making $5,000 a show, $5,000 a win. I never got pay-per-view points. So how would I deal with the loss if I were to lose as a champion? So I would visualize that in my dreams, and never when I was awake, but it was always in my dreams that like, hey, I could lose this fight. How are you going to bounce back? Are you going to be okay?
So while you're visualizing, you don't think of how you're gonna get out of the trouble. You just see yourself that, oh, this might happen. So when it happened, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
You saw that.
I've seen it. Yeah. Like, and don't get me wrong. I've had some good visualizations of me winning, but the ones you remember are the ones you're losing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think what got me in the right mindset when I would fight, I was always surrounded by good company. My wife, Matt, Brad, Joel, my team. Like there was one time where it's fight week. I'm like, oh man, let's go watch this movie. We watch this movie, we train. Then I was like, oh, let's go watch this movie. And then at one time I was like, man, we should go watch this. He goes, you fucking fight tonight. I was like, ah, shit, I forgot.
No way.
Oh yeah.
But did you ever go into a fight thinking that you're not gonna win? You're gonna lose?
I think the first time I went into a fight that I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, this is horrible. This is shitty. Is when I fought Kyojo Horiguchi in Montreal, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, because so to get a direct flight from here to Montreal, it's about 6.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, I was cutting 125, and you usually fly out on Tuesday, right? You fly out here, you get here on Tuesday night, you lose that day. You have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So for me, I was like, okay, I got to cut about 7 pounds. I water loaded way before jumping on the plane. And when I jumped on the plane, I just kept drinking water. And then when I landed, I got sick and I didn't want to eat nothing. I was puking. I wasn't puking. I was just shitting.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I told the coach, I was like, dude, I don't want to train. Like, I am sick. He tried to feed me. I was like, dude, I'm not sick. If you look back at the press conference, like just the way I look, I'll just look like white, almost like just dry. And then eventually, like around Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I started to come around, made weight easy. And I remember we were fighting, and there was a point in the fight where he took me down. Like it's fast paced. We're going back and forth.
Yeah, he's a karate guy. I remember. He had a weird style.
Weird stance,
very linear.
And blast through stuff. And I remember he took me down, and I was like, I don't fucking want to be here right now. Like, I just don't care to be here right now. But somehow I rallied, and the fight kept on going. And I never forget, like the last 20 seconds, like I'm wrestling him, and then I got him in a crucifix, and Matt's like, armbar. And Matt, Matt, he would yell. He was the only person who can yell at me. Yeah, he's like, armbar. And I'm like, I better fucking hit this armbar. I'm winning. So I basically step over, crossbody, boom, hit the armbar. Last second, get the submission. I think me and Max Holloway, the only ones who have this record at the very last second.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
When he knocked out Justin Gaethje the very last second.
In Montreal, too. Yeah.
Was that in Montreal when he did?
Yeah, I think. No, you're.
Oh, my fight, yeah.
It was in Montreal. Yeah.
So that was
That's
special
crazy.
time, yeah.
And it's crazy. You say you heard Matt. Like, a lot of fighters, they can't hear their corner.
Yeah.
And I'm under the impression that I mean, once again, it looks weird to say, but I'm under the impression that when you get close to a coach and you trust him, there's like a direct line in there. And amongst all the chaos and everything, your ear is able to pick up his voice. You know, it's like I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
feel
like
that?
telekinesis.
He doesn't need really to scream, you know, like you just have to speak loud enough that you can hear him. Even there's like complete chaos around. I feel the same way with Firas.
Yeah, because you've been with him since the beginning, right? It's like you have that bond. Like some people nowadays are like, hey, can you come corner me? It's like, I can't.
Yeah, some other guys will scream at me out loud and I will not hear their what they're saying, then their instruction. But like Firas, he speak like he scream, but like doesn't have to scream off his lung. He just say it like loud enough, and I pick it up. Like it's weird. It's a weird connection, and I'm glad to hear that you had the same experience with Matt. You know?
Yeah, like Matt's like a father to me because everything we did, like training, I would spar him. He would watch my sparring. I'll watch him. Like I never forget, I watched him beat up I watched him beat up Mizuno, Sakurai, Rich Frank, and this one Rich Franklin was on world champion. He beat up Rich Franklin. He beat up Spencer Fisher. He would beat up Jens Pulver. And I'm like, he knows. And he would tell me, he goes, like, he'll come to me in the corner. He goes, watch this. And he would just fuck them up. And then he'll come back. He goes, do you know what I did? I was like, a little bit. And he goes, watch again. And then he'll boom, 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 beat him up. And then he'll bring us together. He goes, you guys know why I'm beating you guys up? Like, he was a fucking gangster. He'll be like, you know, I'm beating you guys. And we're like, no, he goes, you guys want to box. You know, so I imitate a boxer. And then once you think I'm boxing, I'm off to Muay Thai. Then once crack. Then once you guys want to play Muay Thai, I come in and I box. So I dictate where we fight. And you guys need to dictate the exact same thing when you fight. You dictate where you want the fight to go to. But you have to be versatile and good in all those areas in order to have that skill set. So he really pushed that onto us. So when you're going through that your whole entire career, you're always going to have that direct line of communication.
There's a saying that you have to work hard, but I think it's inaccurate. You know, it's sort of a cliche. Work hard. I think work smart. It's more important.
Yes,
right?
yes.
If you're more efficient. Like your training was better, not because necessarily you put more volume, because you did it better, you know, like more efficiently.
Yeah. And I think in the beginning it was more work hard, you gotta work hard, da. Then it came a point in time where I was like, let's work smart. We know, because you never those things creep in your mind, like, are we working hard enough? Because sometimes, how many times you go through training camp and you feel fucking great? You're like, whoo, damn, I feel good. Sparring was good. And you're like, damn, am I in shape? It shouldn't be. We're so used as an athlete, and you can speak on this. We're so used to driving our bodies to the absolute peak. So when you're not driving, you're not exhausted or tired in training camp, you're like, something's not right. We need to do X, Y, and Z.
I think from a trainer point of view, from his perspective, there's a pool of athletes that he can choose from and have as his protege.
Yep.
The first thing he's going to do is work them hard.
Yes.
Because more than half of them will quit.
Yeah.
Most of people, they're going to quit right off the bat. And then after, it's about work smart and see who has the most potential. And But that's why I believe in work hard. It's very important. And it's a little bit of a cliche. That's not how you become champion.
Yep.
That's what makes the difference, especially in the beginning. But to become champion, work hard going to put you maybe on the map. But work smart, I think that's the thing that separates champion to contenders. And another thing I wanted to talk about, we talk about the importance of Matt Hume in your career. There's a famous quote saying that behind every great man, there's a great woman.
Yeah.
And you talk about how she supported you.
Oh, yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, behind every great man, there's a great woman. And she at one point in time, I didn't understand it, but she says, hey, when you're in training camp, I'm in training camp. Because while I'm at the weight gym, we talked about earlier today, mixed martial arts is a selfish sport. Like, you got to make sure you get your nutrition, your sleep, your training, your jiu-jitsu, your mix. You got to get everything covered. If you have a family, you have kids, who's going to take care of them kids? Who's going to make sure you have good food? Who's going to make sure the house is warm when you come home? Yeah. And that's what she did. She always made sure when I was traveling or training in the gym, everything at home was taken care of. And, you know, so when she says, when you're in training camp, I'm in training camp. Even to this day, you know, I'll do a couple of jiu-jitsu competition and she goes, all right, babe, what we doing? Is this a training camp or are we just doing this for fun? I'm like, babe, let's just.
Yeah, it's over now.
It's over
right?
now.
Yeah.
But I get to the tournament, I was like, it's fucking go time. She goes,
You still have the kick.
She goes, you said this was for fun. And then when I lose, I'm all pissed. And she goes, you don't even fucking train. You train twice a week. These motherfuckers. So, but yeah, she's amazing, and she's my whole world. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, because in order for me to, we had our first son in 2013. That was after my third title defense.
Wow.
So this is like kind of one of the reasons why it kind of removed me from fighting, because every single time when my wife got pregnant with the first one, she gave birth. Literally, she pushed Tyron out, get staples. I go to fight.
Wow. It must be a lot of stress on her shoulder as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
crazy.
when I had Maverick, which is my second son, he was born April 15th, 2025. No, 2015. Yeah, April 15th. 10 days later, the next day, I come to Montreal. I fight Kyojo Oguchi, April 25th, 2015, right? My wife's pregnant with our third kid. She was born August 24th, 2018. I fought Henry Cejudo a week before that. So my sister dies. I'm in training camp. Every single time, anything that happened in my life, I'm always in training camp. Every single time. And so when it came time for me to walk away, I was like, I'm done. I need to be home. I need to be present with my kids and my wife.
She deserves this.
She deserves it. Yeah. I deserve it too. Damn it.
I'm retired from fighting in the UFC. I'm more busy now than I ever been. Like we're doing a podcast. We did a vlog. I have other businesses. I'm sure it's the same for you. I see you're very busy. Right?
Yeah. I think as I retired, I'm way busier now than I was fighting. And I think it's very important to stay in shape, because I feel as we age, we want to make sure we stay healthy, we stay strong. And you want to be a martial artist where, there's no more joy that I get more joy being able to travel, train with a legend, a world champion, and be able to share knowledge, right? Like sometimes I don't stop and smell the roses, right? But I need to sit there. I'm literally having a conversation. One of the greatest athletes.
You talk about the support of your family, your wife, and I think it's very important that you touch on that, because as an athlete, I can understand that everything is it's linked together. You know, like your sport, your emotion, your logic, everything. If things doesn't go well in your personal life and you're dealing with trouble at home, oh my God, how can you perform? You know what I mean?
You can't.
Same thing. Everything needs to be in order. I know I've seen guys that are very talented, but they screwed up their career because they think their life were not in order. They didn't have a chance to have someone that supported them.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah, I never forget. It was 2013. I was fighting John Dodson. Great fight. We just found out we were pregnant with our first one, and Matt came over to us. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, because sometimes you never know if you belong, right? You don't know if you're worthy of what you've been able to accomplish. And then, my wife, she was showing, and me and her sitting there together, and Matt came and put his hands on both of us, and he goes, "Hey, whatever you guys got going on at home, keep doing it." Like, he's so mentally focused. He's always locked in. Each time we're in fight week, it's not like he's dealing with problems or anything like that. And so I knew she was something special. Obviously, I knew that before that, but I knew that she always had the best interest for me to be successful. And so that's why now I give it all to her. Like, you want to travel, you want to go somewhere with your friends, go. Like,
she made a lot of concession for you to deal with the stress, to accommodate you. Now you do the same.
So now it's like, whatever you need, whatever you want. Like, I'm gonna do my best to make sure your life is easy, smooth sailing, because, I'm fucking in Montreal right now. And what is she doing? She's taking care of the kids. Go do that. It's something you enjoy. You're filling your bucket. She encourages me to do things like this.
Thank you to letting us get the DJ right here with us. Yeah. Another thing too, I want to talk about when you switch from UFC to
one championship,
one championship.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously in my career in the UFC, even though how dominant I was and how I was put on, I can understand if I did boring fights. I can understand it if I was a born fighter and all that stuff. but I would like to say I was pretty entertained when I fight.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. For someone who knows the sport, the real specialist, the people that knows the science of the combat. If every fighter on the planet would weigh the same weight, let's say 150 pounds or 100 pounds, I think you would be the best.
Oh, thank you.
100%.
Yeah.
Like the way you move and everything, your skill, it's unparalleled with anyone.
Thank you. So at that time, they were talking about getting rid of the flyweight division. They've been talking about it. Even, sometimes it feels like, was it something that I made up? Was it something that I heard? But then as I'm older, I was just actually in Sacramento, and another flyweight said that, like, dude, like, they cut me because they said they're getting rid of the flyweight division after you lost, right? And so there was an opportunity where I was talking to my management. I was like, dude, I would love to get out of my contract. Like, can you get me out of my contract? And then they worked on it, and then One Championship was very interested in me, and they were able to get me out of my contract, and then they made the switch between how they're going to make it work, right? So they're like, hey, how about we take Ben Askren, somebody who's retired, and we exchange it for Demetrious Johnson, where I'm looking at the camera and I'm smiling like that.
Yes.
That was the first notice I got that the trade was complete. That it was like, hey, you're going to win a championship. This is what you're going to make. Congratulations. You're no longer the UFC athlete. So I sent a picture, like Matt and Malky were talking to me, and I sent a picture like, I was traveling. I was like, let's fucking go. Because it was back and forth. They're like, nah, we want to keep him. We'll get rid of him. And then finally, that text message came through. And he goes, congratulations, you're part of One Championship. And I was like, yes.
Amazing. And you made more money. And
way more money.
You develop a different fan base, because in Asia, it's a little bit different.
Different fan base. The financial part of it was amazing. But I think the thing that was more amazing was that here's a company that really valued my skill set, who really valued my morals, who really valued, they didn't care about the shit talking. They didn't care about it, right? Yeah. And then even on their part, they told me that, like, we thought you were coming here just to get a paycheck, right? Because you're getting an athlete who's 36 years old, how good is he going to be? But then when I would
how long?
Yeah. But then I think I far exceeded their expectations. And I think if you take all the fans in the world of mixed martial arts and you put them in some type of form of martial arts, they would understand that shit talking is not part of their culture. It's just not. Like, if you shit talk in AMC, you will get your ass kicked. Yeah. There were times Matt will come in and goes, it's fucking open season on these people who decided to show up without an invitation. So go after him. Like, you need to, like, there'll be times Matt goes, if you don't knock that guy out, if you don't make him quit, you don't deserve to be a fighter.
I think it's because fight are promote by emotion. Yeah. They try to trigger emotion. And most fans, I mean, not all the fans, but I would say a big part of the fans in mixed martial arts, especially in Occident, in the West part of the globe, they just... They want to be attached to an emotion. That's what triggered their interest for a fight. Oh, he said this, or he did this. So they relate to that thing because they might not know the science of fighting. And which is necessary sometimes to appreciate a good fighter, like you, for example. Like if you know the science of fighting, the way you move, everything, it was like unbelievable. But they want an emotion. Like, that's why I believe, for example, Conor McGregor was very skilled, but what makes it the most popular fighter of all time is talking, his ability.
Yeah, and for me, it was his skill set. Right, like I never forgetting and watching him fight Diego Brandao, the way he was able to move and hit him, and the way he would throw his cross, a southpaw, his push kicks, and how he even when he fought, I didn't care. The shit talking was ice cream on top, a cherry on top for me.
It attracts the masses.
Masses, but for me, what attracted me to Conor was his skill set. What attracted me to you, it was your skill set. You came out with the kimono, you got the headband on, and you're always very respectful. And then your athleticism, and then you, like you said, the Superman punch and a leg kick, and then the out wrestling Josh Koscheck, and then when you fought Thiago Alves, here's a Muay Thai guy. You beat him up on the feet, you outworked him. That's what made me attach me to you, right? So for me, I get attached to the stories and the athlete, how they perform.
I think it's because most of the fights create an emotion. Like Conor was the best also because he was very charismatic.
Yes.
Like he used to create an emotion out of it. You could look at Conor and be like, I don't care. It's either you love him, you want to see him win, or you want to see him lose. But behind that, he was able to back it up because he was like a sniper with that left hand. Like,
yes.
Boom.
Land, like when he knocked out Eddie Alvarez, he was like, and he goes, ba, 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 ba. And I was like, dude, like, just beautiful tech. Like I said, for me, and then he gets on the mic, he goes, woo, Joe. It's like, of course. And so,
do you think he's gonna? Do you think he's gonna come back and fight?
You know what? I don't know.
I would love to see him.
1000%. Like, see, this is where I get.
He's so entertaining.
Oh yeah, and this is where I get myself in trouble. I think the martial arts side of me, of course, I would love to see him come back. Right. As a fan, I would love to see him come back, but I just don't know if he should come back. Right. Like it's like that. I don't know. Like I would love to see him come back, but I just don't know how motivated he is and who would be disciplined to keep, right? Because that's, as you're going, it's like, and then round 1 ends. Nobody's getting any edge. Round 2 comes. Nobody's getting edge. And somebody's going to want somebody says,
who breaks.
Who breaks.
It's terrible.
And they fucking lose.
Thanks God I'm not in the same weight class. 15 minutes. And then if it's very tight, 5 minute extra round. Please, someone do that system. It would be much better and much more realistic because we're trying to imitate boxing, which is completely
different.
By standing up the guys or breaking the momentum, you change the fights.
Yeah.
The guys is winning a fight, then they get separated. They have a time to go in the corner,
relax,
and then it's completely stupid.
That's what I liked about Pride, where it was like first round was 10 minutes. And you can see like that 10 minutes, it was like 10-5. I think it was around 10-5. Championship was 10-5-5. And you can see people break. And you see the duration as the fight goes on in that first 10 minutes, how they get tired. I mean, when you start hitting that 7-minute, that 8-minute mark, because sometimes when we would train at Matt, he was officiating in Pride. And so he'd be like, all right, guys, we're doing Pride rounds today. First round's 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Second round's 5 minutes. Third round's 5 minutes. You can do soccer kicks, but just be careful. And we would train like that. And I would fucking love it. If you would finish your opponent and sometimes like what made me very good in my training was that Matt was like, you need to finish him more than 5 times, like in a 10-minute round. It needs to be more finishes. And he would push me to do that, even in the 5-minute rounds too.
Was it harder to become champion or to stay champion for you?
Stay champion.
Why?
Stay champion. Because everybody's watching you. Everybody's watching you. You always have to evolve. I didn't like, oh, you're about to fight and you get that target in your back. Staying champion's way harder because it's easy to become champion. It very is because you can have an easier road to the belt, right? You can
be favored by the organization.
You be favored. I mean, it's happened all the time. Like
have great dance partners.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can take a guy. Let's look at Merab, for example. Merab Dvalishvili. He went on, I think, 6-7 fight win streak before he got a title shot. I mean, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense. And he could have beat a lot of guys who were champion at that time.
That's right.
At one point it was Aljo. Aljo became the champion at 135 when he left, but he has to go through, fucking through the gauntlet to become a champion. If they would have placed him with somebody else at a time, he probably would have beat that champion. You know what I mean?
They run a business, so I understand. Like, I mean, it's not trick, but it's like they want their more charismatic guy to be champion. I get it, but in a way, it sort of changes the
dynamic. I heard a rumor recently that they're not letting any more Dagestans or Russian guys in the organization because they're that fucking good.
Really?
Because they would just destroy everybody. Right? Could you imagine more Umar Nurmagomedovs? Could you imagine that? The guy who's a striker, I'm taking you down. I'm grounding and pounding you.
Who you like to watch these days? Who's your favorite guys?
I love to watch Ilya Topuria. I think he's fascinating. I think he has a high IQ, great wrestler, great boxer, touches you, puts you to sleep. Izzy Adesanya, I love watching him. Who else? Max, I love watching him. Justin Gaethje's fun to watch. Who else is fun to watch? I love watching Jones when he fights. I love watching Tom Aspinall when he fights. I love watching Charles Oliveira. I'm high on him. He's very good. Arman Sarukian, Talk about a fucking specimen.
I would like to see him fight Islam Makhachev again.
Oh yeah, Islam. I love watching him fight. Umar, I love watching him fight. I just love watching good tech. It's like I have to be in the right mood, right? It's like when Khamzat when he fights, it's okay. I'm watching somebody who's going to implement a certain style and he's going to execute with flawlessness. It might not be the most exciting. It might not be, pop, pop, oh, pop, 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 pop. It might not be that, but I'm engaged. I'm okay. This is what I'm getting into, and I enjoy it.
I love to. He's one of my favorite guys to watch because of how he's able to implement his game.
Yeah.
Who you think can stop him? Who you think could be his nemesis?
I thought RDR, Rainer de Ritter could have been. But he just fucking gave up. He just lost. So it's very hard. I thought DDP was going to be able to beat him because he has this awkward style where it's like, how the fuck are you I didn't think DDP was going to beat Izzy. I thought Izzy was going to whoop him on the feet because he has a weird style. Yeah. But I thought DDP was going to be able to do it. But I don't think there's nobody because he's
I thought maybe before he lost, Bo Nickel could have a shot, but like things went bad and he sort of lost his confidence. But hopefully he will get back up.
And I think for Bo Nickel, I still think, and I told him this, I still think he's learning how to fight.
Demetrious, I would like to play a little quiz game. I'm gonna give you a name, and in one word you have to describe him.
Okay.
In one word.
Okay.
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 All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Henry Cejudo.
Triple C.
Pantoja.
Monster.
John Jones.
One of the best.
Dana White.
Honesty.
Chatri Sitiatong.
Martial artist.
Israel Adesanya.
A G.
Elias Tuporia.
Oh, he's one of the best.
Conor McGregor.
Showman.
Sean O'Malley.
Oh, Sugar.
And finally, Thomas Pennell.
Man. Man, it's hard. Man, that's hard. New King.
Demetrious, I would like to make you sign a pair of gloves. And I will sign it as well in order to give it to the fans.
Yep.
Victor, thank you, man.
There they are.
So I'll sign it in red for red corner, sign it you in blue for blue corner, and vice versa, and we'll give it to the fans. Demetrious, thank you for coming here, man.
Absolutely.
You talk about I'm doing backflip and cold plunge, and you know what keeps me going is in my life, I feel extremely fortunate to have a chance to spend a day with you and to acquire knowledge and for me that's what keep me going. Like to have a chance to live an experience that is pretty unique. So I want to really thank you for the opportunity that you give me to come here and to in Montreal, in my backyard, and man, I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, my friend.
It was amazing. It was something I will remember for the rest of my life. Like doing this with you, I've learned so much.
He was like, his little black ass was so strong, I couldn't even pass this guy.
And I wish I would have done that while I was competing back in the day, because it would have been such an amazing learning experience. But maybe you would not have shared that secret.
Yeah, he's kind of like, not gonna tell him the secret.
Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much for watching. If you like our content, please hit the subscribe button or the like button. That stuff really helps us a bunch. Also, if you have some suggestion on who you would like me to meet or interview, let us know in the comment section or send us an email. Thank you and have a great day.